Willow Lane had a quiet magic to it, the kind that made it feel like time moved a little slower there. If you passed through too quickly, you might miss it, the way the early morning sun slipped between the maple branches, painting golden streaks across the old, cracked sidewalks. There was a softness to everything, like the street itself had memorized a lullaby and played it back each morning in the hush of rustling leaves and distant traffic. The gentle thump of stroller wheels rolling over uneven pavement became a kind of heartbeat for the block. It was peaceful, predictable, a place where people felt safe because nothing ever changed. At least, that's what Emma thought. She had been working as a nanny for nearly a year now, and each morning followed the same rhythm. At exactly 8:30, she'd open the gate to the small brick house, nudge baby Oliver's stroller down the porch steps, and begin their slow walk through the sleepy neighborhood. It had become second nature, a quiet ritual she looked forward to. Some days, Oliver would drift off the moment the wheels started turning, lulled by the motion. On others, he'd stay awake, his bright eyes following the dancing shadows on the sidewalk like they held secrets just for him. Emma liked those mornings best, the ones where the world seemed to whisper softly around them. The trees would rustle gently overhead, and the neighborhood would stretch awake in yawns of light and birdsong. But one morning, something shifted. A change so small and quiet, it might have gone unnoticed if Emma hadn't looked just at the right moment. At the far end of Willow Lane, near a dip in the curb where rain always collected, she saw something lying still. At first, it looked like a pile of old clothes or maybe a coat someone had left behind. But as she got closer, her steps slowed. It was a German shepherd thin, with a rough, matted coat dulled by time and weather. He wasn't asleep, but he didn't move either. He didn't lift his head in alarm or excitement. No bark, no wag, no begging eyes, just silence. He watched her with calm, steady eyes. And even as she walked past, gently bouncing the stroller over the curb, he didn't react. His eyes didn't follow her. They followed Oliver. Emma blinked, hesitating for just a second. A stray, she told herself. Just a tired old dog who found a sunny spot to rest. She kept walking. But before she turned the corner, something made her glance back. And there he was, still lying there, still watching. Not her. The stroller. Watching Oliver. The next morning, Emma found herself walking with a little more caution. She didn't expect to see him again. Maybe he'd wandered off. Maybe it was a one-time thing. But when she reached the same bend in the road, her breath caught. He was there, this time not lying down, but standing. He looked older now that she could see him fully, his body lean, muscles tight beneath a worn coat, scars hinting at a hard life. He didn't bark, didn't growl, just stood there with eyes locked on the stroller, as though silently taking inventory of every breath Oliver took. By the third day, something had changed in Emma too. She still followed the same path, but now her steps slowed as she neared the corner. She'd adjust the stroller strap or check her phone just long enough to sneak a glance back. There he'd be, same distance, same place, same silent presence. It was no longer coincidence. This wasn't about food or curiosity. The way he held himself, calm, steady, always alert, made her feel like he wasn't just watching. He was waiting. Each day added another thread to her unease. At first, she tried to reason it away. Maybe he was hungry. Maybe the stroller reminded him of something from his past. Maybe he was just an old dog who liked routine. But none of those answers fit. The way he moved or didn't move spoke of intention, of purpose. He never came closer than a few paces. Never barked or whimpered. Never tried to sniff around. And most unsettling of all, his eyes never left Oliver. It wasn't a hungry stare or a curious one. It was fixed, deep, protective, or maybe warning. On impulse one morning, Emma decided to see just how closely he was watching. Halfway down the block, she crossed the street without warning, pushing the stroller over the curb. Behind her, the German Shepherd paused at the corner. He tilted his head slightly, waited, and then, without rushing, he crossed two, matching her path perfectly. The space between them stayed the same. So did his pace. At the next turn, she tried again. Cut across early, changed her route. Same result. He mirrored her exactly, watching, tracking, not like a predator, but like a guardian following something too precious to let out of sight. A cold weight settled in Emma's chest. This wasn't just strange anymore. It was deliberate. This wasn't just some lost dog. There was something else. Something in his eyes, in the way he moved with silent confidence. Emma had seen stray dogs before, nervous, darting, desperate for scraps. This wasn't that. He wasn't scavenging. He wasn't hoping for food. He was and he was following them, not to be fed, not to be noticed, but because something was coming. And only he seemed to sense it. It started with a soft creak from an old porch swing and the rhythmic click of knitting needles. An elderly woman sat there, rocking slowly, her eyes squinting through the warm sunlight. She paused mid-knit, and her gaze locked on the German Shepherd near the curb. "He's back," she whispered, more to herself than anyone else. Then louder, with certainty, "That's Rusty." Emma, startled by the sudden statement, turned back toward the dog. Her steps halted. You know him?" The woman gave a slow, knowing nod. Her face softened as she looked at the dog, like she was staring into a memory. "Oh, yes. Rusty belonged to Agnes, my closest friend. Kindest soul you'd ever hope to meet. That dog never left her side, not once. They were inseparable." Emma looked again at Rusty, who now sat quietly at the edge of the curb. His ears perked up as if hearing his name sparked something inside him. "What happened to her?" Emma asked, her voice low. The woman sighed. "She passed away last winter. After her funeral, Rusty just disappeared. We all assumed he ran off to grieve in his own way, like his heart broke when hers stopped. No one's seen him since." Emma's chest tightened. Rusty wasn't just some stray tagging along their walks. He had a name. He had love, and he had loss. But more than that, he had come back. Why now? In the days that followed, Emma noticed a change. Rusty wasn't just following them anymore. Every movement had weight, every pause, every sniff, every glance. It felt like he was guarding something. Then one morning, halfway through their routine walk, Rusty came to a sudden stop. His ears twitched, his nose lifted, and a low growl hummed from deep in his throat. Emma froze, her grip tightening on the stroller. She scanned the empty street, but saw nothing out of place. Quiet houses, parked cars, stillness. But Rusty stood firm, body tense, angled protectively in front of Oliver. The next day, it happened again. Near a row of untrimmed hedges, Rusty slowed, sniffed the air, and gave off another uneasy growl before taking position behind the stroller. By week's end, it was undeniable Rusty was on alert. He began stopping near garbage bins, circling them, sniffing the ground carefully. At random points, he would block Emma's path until she changed direction. It wasn't random. It was intentional. Then came the night Emma would never forget. Just before midnight, Oliver's parents were stirred awake by a faint scratching sound at the front gate. Then a low, drawn-out whine. Peeking through the curtains, they saw Rusty sitting still beneath the streetlight. He wasn't looking at the house in general. He was staring straight at one window. Oliver single quotes S. No bark. No movement. Just a silent, unmoving guardian bathed in yellow light. Eyes locked. Watching. The next morning, Emma told the parents everything about Rusty's behavior, the stops, the growls. They chuckled, brushing it off as a dog becoming attached. "He probably just likes the baby," Oliver's father joked, but Emma couldn't laugh. The unease was heavy and growing. That evening, after Oliver was asleep, Emma sat down with her phone. She pulled up every video she'd recorded from their walks. At first, it was all the same. Stroller wheels turning, streets passing, Rusty in the background. But on the 8th clip, something shifted. In one corner, just beyond a weathered wooden fence, there it was, a still figure, unmoving, Emma's breath caught. She rewound, slowed it down, adjusted the lighting. The shape became clearer, broad shoulders, a slightly tilted head. It wasn't a tree. It wasn't a post. It was a man. Her heart thudded in her chest. She flipped through other videos, faster now, fingers trembling. There he was again, different days, different angles. Same place. Same stillness. He had been watching them. All this time, Rusty hadn't been reacting to nothing. He wasn't sniffing at ghosts. He was tracking someone real, someone dangerous. The image hit her like ice. She remembered every growl, every time Rusty stepped between them and the road, every long stare under the streetlights. It all made sense now. There was someone out there, close enough for Rusty to smell, close enough to make the dog tremble with tension. But this person didn't have Rusty's purpose. He had a different one. Emma snapped a screenshot and sent it to Oliver's parents with shaky fingers. When they saw it, silence filled the room. Fear settled in. Within an hour, they were sitting in a police station, voices hushed under harsh lights. The detectives enhanced the video, cross-checked it with their database. The man was no stranger. He was a suspect in several child abduction cases that had gone cold. But now he was here, watching their baby. The police responded quickly. Surveillance teams were placed around the neighborhood. Emma stayed home, every creak echoing louder than before. Rusty remained at his post, day and night, never straying from the gate. Never letting his guard down. 3 nights later, a growl ripped through the silence. Emma woke instantly. She ran to the window. Rusty stood stiff, gaze locked across the street. A figure moved. Headlights appeared. A police cruiser glided into view. Officers moved fast. The man tried to run but didn't make it far. They tackled him, handcuffed him under the same streetlight where Rusty had kept vigil. The next morning, detectives confirmed the truth. He had been planning an abduction. Rusty had sensed everything. From the very beginning, when it was over, Emma stepped outside. The house finally felt like it could breathe again. And there was Rusty, sitting calmly, his eyes no longer full of tension. Oliver's parents joined her, quiet, respectful. Oliver's father walked to the gate, paused and opened it. Rusty didn't rush. He moved gently, nose exploring the yard, the porch, the walls. Then he walked to the front door, paused, and looked back as if asking permission. No one stopped him. He walked straight to Oliver's room and lay down at the door. Emma's throat tightened. It was as if he had known all along that this was where he belonged, where his mission ended and something new began. In that quiet moment, Emma understood something simple and profound. True protectors don't need commands and they don't ask for recognition. They just find a cause worth guarding and they